Welcome to Post-Exertional Mayonnaise podcast. It's been a while since I've said that. I'm currently sat in it's Daniel here, by the way. I'm currently sat in Scotch Corner Services car park, having paid £4.65 for a flat white. One of the things that I'm realising is when you've been out of society for so long, just simple things like, whoa, the cost of a motorway service station coffee is incredible. But I thought I'd treat myself. So a few people have had some questions because I've kind of gone off the radar for a bit. I had a mental health crisis in May, and it's taken me quite a while to kind of get through that, really, without going into too much detail. It's sort of changing circumstances has just given me time and space to rest and also focus on things. And I'm not saying that the mental health crisis or the change in circumstances has improved my ME, but I think they've been a contributory factor, if that makes sense. Less stress. I've been thinking about for a while about going on a road trip, and ever since I kind of joined the Twitter community with ME and made friends and things like that, it's something I've been wanting to do, to go just to get away, but also to visit people, and kind of submerge myself back into society again in a strange way. But I never thought it would be possible for me. So here I am. I'm on my way to Nottingham, and I'm going to stay with some friends, and I've got a few things to do over the next week or two, and people to see, and it's exciting, and I really hope I don't completely wear myself out, but I feel like over the last month, 6 weeks, I've got a sense of my own body, and I haven't been crashing quite the same way. It's not to say that I'm like anywhere near recovered or been out of work full time or anything like that, because I'm still kind of waking up in the mornings. The mornings are the worst for me at the minute. Just waking up, even though I'm sleeping really well, is just waking up and feeling that really rough feeling. But for me at the minute, it seems to be like wearing off by mid-morning, and I'm still like resting in the days, in the afternoons when I can. So I'm going on a crazy, absurd road trip on my own, and just I was just sat drinking my flat white coffee, and and thinking it was such a strange feeling just to be like sat in a motorway service station cafe and not have any pressure to be anywhere, or I'm going to meet my friends later, but I don't have to be there for a specific time, so I can just sit in my car and record this little piece, and and not feel stressed about anything right now. And I think one of the things that we feel so pressured about living with ME is feeling guilty all the time, just feeling guilty because we're not the person that we want to be, we're not able to do the things that we want to do, and support people and our family and kids necessarily in the way that we want to. And that's been a massive part of my ME journey, is just like carrying that all the time. And some good friends have told me that I need to kind of focus on myself, and that's a really hard thing to do when you're carrying the guilt of living with ME, even though it's not my fault, it's not our fault for living with this. So yeah, I will do some little updates like this. Thank you for all the people that have like encouraged me online on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It's going to be an interesting journey, and I can't say necessarily how my illness is going to pan out over the next week and a half. But I've planned in plenty of rest times. I've probably planned in too much to do. I'm like doing random stuff, like meeting a stand-up comedian for coffee on Saturday to talk to her about a project that she's got going on, and hopefully we'll plan to record a podcast about it for Post-Exertional Mayonnaise. So I'm meeting up with some other friends from a Facebook group unrelated to Emmy, and yeah, lots of bits and bobs like that. Hopefully going to a pub quiz tomorrow night, maybe. One of the big things for me in my improvement is that I've not had the same hypersensitivity to noise and sound and smells that we so often get, and that lack of hypersensitivity, as well as the extra energy, has enabled me to do things and be in environments that I just couldn't be in before. So it's yeah, it's like just an amazing chance to experience some life again, and whether my ME dips again, it may well do, and it may well do be as a result of this journey. And some people might feel that's like foolhardy, or I'm pushing myself too hard, but like I said, I feel like I'm reading my own body at the minute quite well, and I'm making sure that I've got plenty of rest time. I've been like at the motorway services for like an hour now or something. I just like had a coffee, and then I've bought a kind of Monster Energy. That's not necessarily a good idea, but I don't know. I've never really drunk energy drinks until the last year or so, and I bought one on a whim once when I was feeling tired and driving my daughter home. And we stopped to get something from the co-op, and I just grabbed an energy drink off the shelf and thought this will just help me maybe drive home and not feel so exhausted, and it kind of helped. And sometimes we've just got to find things that work, and I know it's not good for my body, but I don't know. I'm not telling people to go out and buy energy drinks by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, so those are just some of my random thoughts for today, without going into too much detail of everything that's gone on for me over the last 6 months. But I just, my wish, I suppose, is just for everybody listening to this, that we would get to a situation where like everybody can just experience life again. And if I stay at this level, I'd be overjoyed. I don't want to go running marathons. I don't want to go skydiving. I don't want to do crazy stuff. I mean, it would be nice to go hill walking again. But I don't feel any, desire to have any massive bucket list. One thing that's interesting is one of our first guests on the podcast was Alison, and many of you might know Alison's project. I'd be here if I could, to have a mirror box art project to go around the country to places that people with ME can't get to and wish they could. And my featured place that's on the website is at the Stadium of Light in Sunderland, and I've just been like longing to go to a football match at Sunderland for the last 8 years. It's 8 years this month since I last went to a match, and it was miserable because Sunderland were in the Championship but getting relegated at that time, or did get relegated to the division below. So there was like very few people there. There was a bad atmosphere, and now we're sitting 5th in the Premier League. So somehow Sunderland's fortunes over the last 8 years seems to have mirrored my own, and that's interesting. But I'm hoping on the 18th of October, after my road trip, to go to a match. My uncle's got a season ticket, but can't go to that particular one. And yeah, my only bucket list thing has been to get to a Sunderland match, and that might become reality. Whether that's going to be too much for me, because I get really excited and I get into the match and I start shouting and things, and then I get a sore voice. So it might not be the best thing. It might not be very wise. but it would just be an amazing thing to do after so long. I don't want people listening to this to kind of, because it can. I'm hyper aware that it can stir up real mixed emotions for people with ME, because I've been there when other people start doing better, and it's like, what did you do? What secret did you unlock, or what supplement did you try, or how did you manage your energy levels? And I haven't got an answer for that. I think I've just seen a sort of steady, slow improvement over a year, and over the last few weeks, seen more improvement. But I can't attribute it to anything specific, other than like a change of environment, change of situation, and reduced stress levels, because of the environment that I was in before. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say at the minute. Thanks for listening. I'm about to set off on my next leg. I might stop again before I get to Nottingham. I'll just see how I go with my kind of Monster Energy drink. It is a zero sugar one, so at least that's something. I hope everybody's, wherever you are listening to this, that today treats you as well as possible. And I'll speak to you soon. Hello again. I'm just on stop number 2. I needed the toilet because I drank because I drank a huge flat white at Costa, and then I had a Monster Energy drink, and so I had a plan to stop somewhere slightly further down, but I'm not far from Nottingham now. I'm at Woodall Services, so I just went in there and went to the toilet, and then trying to figure out what these weird things were sticking out of the walls, these silver metallic things, and then realised that they're just Dyson Airblades with a HEPA filter in. So yeah, they looked quite obscure. Never seen that before, so that's another new one for me. Yeah, they worked quite well. I don't know if it's a good idea to be just like blowing germs around the place or not. Another kind of question is like, am I putting myself at risk? Should I be masking? All these questions, I don't know. Lots of people might say yes. There's nobody masking at all. Maybe I should be. I don't know. I have got a couple of masks. I was just sat eating my extortionately priced Burger King Whopper, and fries and drink. I paid an extra £1 to have some bacon in my Whopper. Just thought I'd treat myself. And I was just looking out over onto the grass at the service station, and there's a guy doing his prayers on the grass, kneeling down and standing up and kneeling down again, and it just got me thinking about faith and religion and my own history with that. And it's, if anybody listened to the episode about toxic spirituality, then you know I've kind of had a history in evangelical Christianity, and I'm just going to say it, and I'm reflecting on living with ME for 8 years, or actually more than that, like 15, 16 years over my whole life. But I don't think there's a God that cares, and I know some people find real strength and hope in faith and in God throughout the suffering. But for me, it was the opposite. It pushed me further away from any sense of faith. I went through a massive, what we call, deconstruction, and questioned and searched, and I had no answers for the intense suffering we go through as people with ME. There isn't any solution, no spiritual solution to a fucking horrible physical condition that drains the life out of us. So yeah, if you do find peace in faith and in a God or in religion, then I'm really pleased that you found that throughout your illness. I spent a good amount of time searching, and the more questions I asked, the less I felt any sense of comfort or security or care from any sort of God figure. So yeah, I don't know why I decided to share that. Maybe it was just the watching the guy. He's still there actually on the grass, and yeah, that's all really I had to say. Dyson Airblades and religion. There you go. I'm really hoping. I'm really excited. I just got a message earlier from Jeremy Jeffs, who's had who's a photographer who's just had a recent exhibition in London with photos of many of us with ME. And I might get a chance to catch up with him after he came up to photograph me up in Northumberland. So that'll be just a lovely occasion as well. So yeah, look out for that. Might make a quick podcast recording with him as well. So I'll keep you updated. Thanks. Take care. Okay, so stop number 3. I've sort of stopped at a designer outlet shopping precinct in Nottinghamshire. If you know Nottingham, you know where I am. MacArthur Glen. Used to come here quite a bit. And I don't really know why I came here. I just turned off the motorway and thought I'll come here. And I've got absolutely no money, and I've got nothing to buy, and I just had a little wander. And then I'm back at my car. I think one of the things, having more energy and living with ME now, is just realising how fucking disabled I was, and how very ill I was. I used to dip into like severe on the categorization, but man, for me, I spent so long being housebound, and it wasn't about me not, I could have, for many people with ME, they're kind of out and about in wheelchairs quite a bit and stuff. But that was never really an option for me because I was just too ill to even be out and about in a wheelchair. So like, you might be able to sit in a wheelchair, but the sensory overload stuff of being in an environment around people, around smells, around bright lights, around noise, was just too much, and the PEM was just too great afterwards. So I've either sort of been able to walk short distances or just not been able to go out at all. So yeah, I think I want to say to people listening, like, when you gaslight yourself, and I've done it so much myself, like, you are really ill. Like, believe yourself and believe your body. You're like really, really ill, and maybe these days will come again. But yeah, I just had a little wander, and didn't buy anything, didn't have anything to buy. But it was just one of them things. I don't know why. I don't know what led me to come here. But I'm in my car, and I'm gonna head over to my friends. But yeah, listen to your body, believe your body. The stigma's real, guys. The stigma is like so real about what we live through, and the way that our mind forces us down certain alleys because of the way the messages within society, the way that the government talks about getting people back to work, all this sort of stuff. like for the majority of people with ME, we can't work. It's like an impossibility. Like our illness doesn't fit into a category. It's not about getting adaptations. It's not about like getting the right wheelchair. For some of us it might be. But it's about the sheer and utter exhaustion that we're living with every day, or that I have lived with every day. So yeah, keep holding on to the possibility that things will improve, but I'm not going to be talking in this podcast over this mini-series about recovery. I'm not going to talk about healing. I hate both those words, because I'm not convinced that recovery is possible, and I know so many other people talking that way. Maybe I'm just cynical, and maybe I'm just like waiting for everything to slip up and fall apart. I know that, and maybe that's because I thought I'd recovered for 20 years after my childhood ME, and then it all came crashing back down. So I'm not convinced that ME goes away. I think some of us might be lucky enough sometimes for it to go into remission, and that's the way I'm seeing it, really. I'm if I stay at this level, I know I'm still living with ME. I can't run, I can't, even if I do anything slightly energetic now, like trying to hoover, something like that, it just sends me way out of breath. So yeah, I've seen improvement, but I'm still a million miles off your average Joe. So yeah, I'll speak to you next time. Decisions, decisions, decisions. That's that's the title of this little pod. Yeah, it's the morning after. I got to Nottingham all right. Got to my friend's house. My friend said that she had community choir practice that evening last night, and I could go with her if I wanted to, or I could just stop and rest. And this comes back to decisions, decisions, decisions. It's really hard, isn't it? Like, even if your ME changes, like, and you have more energy, it still comes back to having to make decisions about what you're going to do, how you're going to spend your energy. Have I got enough energy for this? Am I being stupid? Can I manage this? And it's hard because I sort of started thinking like, well, I don't feel too bad. Like, do I make the decision to go along to a crazy community choir event, or do I just stop here and fiddle around on my phone and things, to rest and recuperate from my drive? And I just thought, do you know what? Over the years, I've just like missed out on so much. I'm just gonna bloody do it. um, so, um, I went along. I got a little bit. I used medical cannabis, and I got a bit medically high before we went. So it was the most bizarre experience. Basically, going along this sports hall, or yeah, community hall, and sitting in a circle, and effectively, yeah, like singing along to pop songs, and just having a really nice time. And I was the youngest, apart from my friend Naomi, who I'm staying with. I was the youngest person there by a good number of years. But it was just brilliant. It was really good. Um, and I came back, and it was interesting because my friend said that in the car on the way back, we picked up an old lady who was talking to us as well, and dropped her off. And uh, my friend said, "Oh yeah, you can." I could tell you were sort of like you'd sort of faded out by that point, and I guess we all know that feeling of just, I call it wilting, just wilting, and recognizing that probably about halfway through singing pop songs, um, I was starting to struggle, and that was another thing. It was everybody else was stood up in the circle, like dancing a bit, or kind of just singing and enjoying themselves, and I sat down for most of it, well, for all of it really. So again, it's another feeling of kind of feeling different, and then wondering what people are thinking because I'm sat there, but I was clearly kind of getting into it at the same time. So yeah, and also somebody like encouraged me to stand up, and I kind of had to say, "Oh, I've got a chronic illness," And again, it's those sort of like social interactions that maybe when you're mostly housebound, you don't. I mean, you do have to deal with, but on a more miniature scale, I guess. But when you start and re-enter society, like I am at the minute, and I don't know how I'm going to be and how everything's going to impact me, or whether I'm going to crash again in big time in the next week or month or 2 months or whenever it's going to be. Um, but yeah, just making those sort of having to sort of like live with an invisible illness, a disability really, and then um, having to kind of like clarify or explain yourself, or um, but I'm gaining more confidence, I think, in that now. So yeah, it was brilliant fun. So I slept well, and just charging my car. Um, uh, well, sat in a charging bay. So yeah, I'm gonna meet up with somebody this evening who I haven't seen for um, about about 7.5 years. So that's gonna be lovely, and I'm just gonna rest for the rest of today. Um, so yeah, decisions really difficult sometimes to know how far do you push yourself, how far do you restrict yourself. We all like warn each other, don't we? We remind each other to um, not do too much. That's like just a phrase. Don't do too much. Don't do too much. Um, and I was like really rough this morning when I woke up. And that morning roughness that we all experience, even if you slept well, and I did sleep well. Um, but yeah, it's going it's good so far. So on to my next thing. Tomorrow is going to be a bit of a mammoth day. I'm going to an event for a director of my old work, who died earlier this year, and we're having a get together of old colleagues, and so it's going to be absolutely amazing just to see people again and see people that we worked really hard together to build something, and it's a good 10 years nearly since it's 10 years this summer since I left that job, so I'm sure we'll all be looking a bit older, but it'll be good to do, and then I'm going to do something after that with to do with my new business, and meeting another friend who I haven't met before. He was a good internet friend, and I went on her podcast last year. She's a life coach and somebody who helps people with grief. So I might link into her podcast as well if anybody's interested. So we might record a little bit, and I'll keep you updated. So yeah.